And today I'm very happy to have Sensei Anssi Ruusuvuori. Anssi has been a good friend of mine for years, and many of you know that I have a black belt in Kyokushin Karate, and Anssi is also a karateka, a master and sensei in karate. He has been practicing Wadō-Ryu karate. So let me just welcome Anssi. Hi, Anssi. Nice to meet you on our channel. Okay, Anssi, we are going to talk about Wadō-Ryu. It's a fascinating karate style. I have been always very fascinated. I mean, with all karate style, of course, but especially with Wadō-Ryu. And Anssi is going to explain the concepts and philosophy of Wadō-Ryu. So, Anssi, tell us first, when did you start with martial arts in general, or with Wadō-Ryu in particular?
Well, I started with judo. I don't actually remember when. It was early 70s. I was very young, so I studied to a couple of years. But then in 79, I started Wadō-Ryu karate, and I have been in the same club ever since.
Yes.
So that's 41 years about.
Could you tell us about your degree? What is your degree in Wadō-Ryu karate at the moment? What is your belt?
I have a Shodan first degree black belt, which I graduated in 1998.
Okay.
And then I have the first degree black belt in Wadokai, WUKF, Japanese style Wadokai in 2014.
Okay. So let's go one step back, and I come back to Wadokai later on. What is a bit about the concept of Wadō-Ryu. Who is the founder of Wadō-Ryu, Anssi?
He's Hironori Otsuka sensei, and he was a master. It was, I think, Shindo Yoshinryu Jujutsu that he practiced, and he was the fourth grandmaster of the style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are the specialties of Wadō-Ryu karate? Could you explain this to us?
Yes, well, as I said, he was a jujutsu master, but in 22, when Gichin Funakoshi came from Okinawa to show karate, he was invited there. He befriended Hironori Otsuka sensei, and Otsuka started to train in karate. But as at the time, karate training was mostly only katas, and Otsuka sensei thought it would need also to learn how to attack, how to avoid attacks. And he had this sabaki idea, that is, you remove from the line of the attack,
yes,
still keeping close, so you can use jujitsu and arm locks to put man down. But his style was called Wadō-Ryu because it's the way of peace, and he thought that we should avoid attacks. We should avoid being violent at the most time. Like you say, karate nisente nashi, so there is no first attack in karate. That's the one principle.
That's right.
And also it was more flexible because the stances are higher. So it's not like Shotokan with the heavy low stances.
Yes.
Where you can produce a lot of power, but he felt he was a small poster. He was strongly about avoiding attack and being more agile and moving fast. And this suits very well to sports karate and kumite.
Yes.
But katas are a bit more simple and not as flashy as like Shotokan karates. And not so many techniques as or katas as in many other styles.
Okay, let me just go back to Tai Sabaki, because everyone, I mean, you practice judo as I did, or many people know judo and jujitsu, and we know that Tai Sabaki is the most fundamental technique in judo. All throws, I mean, in combat, I'm not talking about if someone stands up there, right? Only work in combat if you know Tai Sabaki. You don't know Tai Sabaki, you cannot throw. And we all know it from judo, right? So you know that judoka, I mean, at least, high-level judoka who do Olympic level or world championship or European championship level, they spend hours and hours, days and weeks on learning Tai Sabaki. You don't know Thai sabaki, you cannot throw a resisting opponent. We all know that in judo, right?
Yes.
And this is very fascinating what you told me about Thai sabaki, because I heard a lot about Wadō-ryū, that Wadō-ryū, if you want, is an interface between karate and judo. That's why I have been always fascinated by Wadō-ryū. So when I mentioned like Thai sabaki, I said, wow, that's very fascinating. Could you tell us a bit more about the concept of Thai sabaki and Wadō-ryū? Just a bit more.
Yes, well, it's very important to, of course, avoid the line of the attack, and also you direct the force away from you, and then you can get close to the opponent. You can sweep the legs or do the whatever you can do. But I think also the blocks, in Shotokan the blocks are hard. In Wadō-ryū they are soft, or they're curved. So you direct the force of the attacker and avoid it, and then you are free to do counter.
Yes.
And that's very important. So it's not force against force, it's avoiding and redirecting the force. That's the most important thing, I believe.
Beautiful. Okay, let's go back to the concept of katas in Wadō-ryū. How many katas does Wadō-ryū have? Do you know?
We practice 12 katas at the moment. So we have the Pinan katas, 6 Pinan katas, 5 Pinan katas, and then knifemaker, kushanku, seishan, shinto, niseishi, wanshu, and bassai. These are the most common.
12 katas. Well, you have more, or you only practice 12 katas?
I haven't heard many more. Even these, I have practiced all of them, but even wanshu is foreign to me. But all the others, I have trained more. So there are less katas than in other styles.
It's very fascinating. Did you call them Pinan katas?
Yes, because they are called Wadō-ryū Pinan. They are heian in other styles like
yes,
in Shotokan.
That's right. No,
but
it's very
similar. No.
Yes. In Shotokan, they're called heian. I know Pinan from Kyokushin karate. But that's why that's why I said Pinan. You call them Pinan because that's the original Okinawan name, Pinan. And you have 5 of them. Oh yes, they're mostly similar. The Pinan katas are very similar. Very interesting.
Yes, and as you know, the katas were Pinan katas or heian katas. They advised by Itosu Anko because he was a school teacher, and he wanted to teach karate, and knifemaker was the first kata there, but it was too hard for the students. So then he advised the Pinan katas, which have a lot of moments from kushanku, for example, just similar moments and stuff like that.
Yes, very similar to kushanku. It's like you're right. It's like especially the second one is like a simplified version of kushanku, right?
Yeah, right. Also yodan or yondan.
Absolutely.
Very similar.
Very similar. Absolutely. So you practice these katas of Wadō-ryū, and okay. And what else do you practice in your club? You also do, of course, the application of katas, I'm sure, the transfer of techniques, and the application for kumite, and these things. How is the kumite done in Wadō-ryū karate? Could you explain the kumite for us, the concept of kumite in Wadō-ryū?
Well, we have a paired, how do you say, with couple, when you train with another person, how do you say it?
Yes.
Pairing up, we have a ippon kumite with basic stances.
Yes.
Then we have a ohio kumite, which is more like kumite fighting, free fighting. And then we have kihon kumite, which is more like concentrated real fighting, where you really do them concentratedly. We have 6 ippon kumites, 8 ohio kumites, and 10 kihon kumites. But the free fighting, if we call it kumite, the sports karate.
Yes, sports karate.
We have also that. We just train normally with gloves and shields, and we do a lot of these stuff. And also at the moment, the Finnish national team is training in our dojo. It's very interesting. So we have all the best women karates, for example, training in our dojo, and it's very, very good to see them.
Absolutely, so you can only learn a lot. I just have a question for you. Wadō-ryū, does Wadō-ryū has its own I mean, I'm talking about sport competition. Sport competition, or do you merge with major styles like Shotokan during competitions?
We merge with major style because our style of Wadō-ryu belongs to the National Karate Federation and now also to the Japanese WKF. So, and we have always done the kumite with all the other styles.
Okay.
I know there's another style of Wadō-ryu and they have all their own sports happenings. Okay. But we don't belong. We train with all national styles.
Okay, so the kumite, for example, you train with or compete with major style, which Shotokan has, of course, as we know, many competitors. Yes. So you compete against with Shotokan, karateka, or other major styles like Goju-ryu or other things. So you're under yes. Karate Federation, I understand. And the katas as well. For example, in kata competition, please correct me if I'm wrong. So you run your, for example, Shotokan comes and does Heihan, for example, is as required by the committee. And then you can come and compete with the similar kata from Wadō-ryu. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, that's right.
And also, so of course, some of our better competitors they can use even Shotokan katas if they want to go to the international competitions. So because our katas are a bit more simple, they are not as flashy.
So they add Shotokan elements to it to compete in international.
To my knowledge, yes, they can do a bit higher up, a bit lower up, and more lower stances and stuff like that. So it's a bit more fancy.
Yeah, of course, they look fancy. That's right. That's right. Okay, I have so that's what you do there then. What else is this? A sport karate? Okay, let's just. That's the interesting part I wanted to ask about Wadō-ryu. As I heard or I saw him once also trained, and when I came to your club, I saw that. That's very interesting. When you train with Wadō-ryu karateka, you immediately realize when you train with them that they all know judo or they know grappling. It's very interesting yes. to see them. You know, in contrast, you know, I'm not saying. I mean, normally when you go to Shotokan. Many Shotokan practice judo, but I'm not talking about them because you practice two styles. Most of them, I know many senseis who do that, or black belt in Shotokan, black belt in judo. I'm not talking about them. But I'm not talking about only Shotokan or karate style who only do one, striking. And when you grab them and you just push them back and forth, you realize they don't know so much about grappling. But when I came to your club, and I remember when you kindly invited me to teach, and the first thing when I touch a karateka who do Wadō-ryu, you immediately realize these guys know how to grapple. So, you know, you really immediately, you know, but just to touch them, you realize they know how to grapple. So the question for me is, do you practice, I'm sure, lots of throws and grappling as well in Wadō-ryu karate? Am I correct?
Yes, and I think it's kind of individual thing because in our club, we want to train basically every part of the self,
defense.
Every part of different self-defense techniques. So we train judo, throws. We train even Brazilian jujitsu type of ground grappling a lot actually. So we practice everything that is workable, which is parts of the any style. And we actually, you know, in many clubs they discourage you from joining any other styles or training any other sports. We actually what's the word? We encourage. Yes, thank you, Professor. We encourage them to go and see other styles. Then they come to us. We have one black belt who was training Hokuto-ryu jujitsu, which is Finnish style actually. Wow. And he came to us and we trained with him. So we have trained jujitsu style grappling and any other thing that really works. Also boxing with gloves and stuff like that, because it's all self-defense. To me, karate is self-defense mostly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I fully agree with you. Now, I'm also, as you know, that I have been always fascinated by, you know, styles, which, you know, lots of competition, fall contact is, but you should never, ever forget. I fully agree with you. No matter, I mean, it's not no excuse. And I'm saying it as a guy who has been doing fall contact. But I really, no matter if you do light contact, full contact, grappling, whatever, at the end of the day, none of these things is self-defense. They help you to defend yourself, but none of them on its own, I fully agree with you, is self-defense. So I fully agree. If you want to learn self-defense, you need to train everything you find and add to your arsenal. I fully agree with you. That's why also I always encourage my students, learn everything. There is no such a thing as a bad martial art. Train everything, learn from every style. And that's why this open-mindedness in your club, I really appreciate that. I saw it with my own eyes, and now you tell me it's encouraging to see that. It's absolutely marvelous attitude to have. There is, you know, I always say, if there, you know, every martial art, there is a reason it exists. And there is a response to a certain environment, and you can learn and add it as a response to your arsenal. So making fun of this art, that art, that art is, in my humble opinion, very naive. You can learn from every art. You can learn, you can add to your arsenal, learn different responses to different environments you will encounter one day. And I fully agree. At the end of the day, our job in martial arts, there are two things: self-defense, to be able to defend ourselves in a real life situation, and the second thing, to be better human beings. We should also not forget that. So Budo, as you said. Do you stress the concept of Budo in Wadō-ryū as well, Anssi?
Yes, of course, and we are very careful to tell people, for example, what they can do if they are attacked. For example, in Finland, according to law, and also we do have deep breathing exercises and mokuso. So that's very important to me.
Yes.
I think the problem that people don't encourage their trainees to go somewhere else. If you do it professionally, if you do it for money, they want to cling on to their students. But we do it for free. We don't get money for teaching at all.
Yes.
So it's voluntary, so we don't mind. Of course, we want to keep our club alive, but I think that's the better way to let them free, so to say.
Just because many people who watch our channel, I mean, 80% are from the United States of America. Just let me explain, because they don't know this European structure, especially what we have in Northern Europe, in Nordic countries. Because just to help to understand the concept of club, because clubs especially in Nordic countries are also financed by government and helped by governments. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
That's it. Because our American colleagues will not understand what is this, and they say,
oh yeah.
That's the reason I'm explaining. Because I mean, in Germany we have that as well, but not that extensive as we do in Nordic countries in Europe. Like Finland is part of Nordic countries. They have very extensive programs for help by government, financed by government. So everyone in the society can have a chance to practice sport. In the same time, also higher education, government helps higher education. Because the reason I'm mentioning it, because as I said, many Americans are members of our channel, and they were first said, what? How can you survive? That's the reason I'm explaining. And I fully agree with you. Once your job or your intention is to survive your business, then your plan changes, of course. I fully agree with you. Yes, then you can concentrate on other things. And how is the karate in Finland? Does karate have many followers in Finland? How is the situation at the moment?
They have, yes, it's a big thing. There are not as many competitors in kumite at the moment, or in kata. There's one woman now who trains with us, who tries to get to Olympics. I think it's 6th or 7th in the ranking in the world.
Wow.
But not that many competitors nowadays. But we have a lot of clubs. We have 28 Wadō-ryū clubs in Finland. It's the largest style in Finland. But we have also Shorinji-ryu, Shotokan, Goji-ryu, Shito-ryu, Sankukai, Kokondo, Kyokushinkai, and so on. So there are a lot of clubs.
You have did I understand you correctly? Wadō-ryū is the most popular style in Finland?
Yes, it is.
Wow, this is unbelievable. Because in Germany, it's not, you know, that's very interesting. In Germany, Shotokan is the most popular style.
That's very usual. Yeah, sometimes it's Shotokan, but I think in Japan nowadays, at least in WKF, Wadō-ryu is the largest. I'm not sure, but one of the largest at the most, at least it is, yes.
Ah, okay. So yeah, of course, it changes from one country to another
Oh,
country.
yes, yes.
That's interesting to see that, to watch that. And could you tell us a bit about ranking in Wadō-ryu, the belt ranks and the color? Could you tell us about the colors? How is the color in Wadō-ryu?
It's first the yellow, orange, green, blue, brown, and then black.
Okay.
But in Finland, actually, it's very hard to get even the shodan. So most of the people have to train 10, 20 years to get the first shodan.
Yes.
So because it's the national, we have the Dan Collegium, which have had masters from every style, and you have to go there. Even you have Wadō-ryu, you have the teachers, teachers or upper dance that come from Wadō-ryu and also from Shotokan and Shorin-ji-ryu, at least 3 different styles, and you have to convince all of them. And usually you don't get at the first time or even second time. You have to try many times to do that. So there are not many second or third dans even in Finland, and the highest is, I think, 6th dan at the moment.
6th dan, yes, that's right. Okay, that's very. Do you also have kobudo? Do you practice also weapons in your style?
Not in Wadō-ryu, no, at all. I know there are styles that do that.
Yes,
but not in Wadō-ryu. It's more like a sports style, and we do that. I teach knife offense, defense, and attack and stuff like that, and even with weapons. But it's not like Okinawan style.
Oh, okay. So it's not
more like Krav Maga and all the other styles.
If I'm not very familiar with Goju-ryu, but am I correct that Goju-ryu has some weapons in its curriculum? Goju-ryu karate, kobudo style, something like that?
Probably, yeah. There is one club, Sankukai in Turku, which uses this, but I don't remember now the style. I'm not very familiar with other styles like Goju-ryu, so I can't say.
Okay. Okay. What is what kata in Wadō-ryu do you like the best, personally?
I have to say Nishishi.
Ah, okay. I know which one. Yes. Okay. Well, tell me why you like that one, please.
They have. I just like some of the movements there where you go like you use your pelvis very fast and your hips very fast, and it's a very good training technique.
Yes, that's.
So I like that. Bassai too. That's fine. Yeah, all the higher katas are very interesting. Shinto also, you have to have very good balance and do the kicks and so on. So
yes,
they're hard and nice katas to train.
Yeah, of course they're hard. Yes, that's not easy. I fully agree. That's right, they're hard. Thank you very much. This was that you came here today for Wadō-ryu. I really thank you, Anssi. Do you want to add something to Wadō-ryu today?
Well, I'd like to thank Sensei Bob Nash. He's a 7th dan, American-Japanese master. He has been in Finland many times. Actually, he should be here again in a week. And he has been wonderful because he has all the traditional teaching. He was born in Japan, and he has the openness of an American teacher. Yes. So thank you, Mr. Sensei Bob Nash, for all your teachings.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, Anssi, then I stop that and for this first interview, and thank you very much.